Let's go. Yeah, no. Dude, that was mental.
You know, you're the master.
Welcome, everyone. It is with great pleasure we have the big Nate Dog and Zoard.
Thanks for having us.
The CEO of the Slab Tour and the CEO of the App Tour. Got gummies and waves.
He's got his
Yeah, he's got his app ready to go.
It's not an ad.
This is not an ad.
I'm not affiliated.
While we're
It's
not
a
doing
lifestyle.
adverts, check this out. Team Florence.
Hey, repping the gear.
They're actually my favourite shorts. I'm not just saying that because
I love that.
Welcome
Yeah.
to the team.
Yeah, thank you. I'm here recently this week.
I missed the green memo, eh?
Yeah. I've also got a fishing, like a long sleeve rashi with a hood.
Oh, yeah.
Saves me on them hot days.
They're so good.
Yeah. I was just chatting randomly to Jono at Hollow Surf because he stocks your brand, and I was wondering how them rashis went. And he's like, I think O'Neill or someone had them like 15 years ago. He said they barely sold, and then since the Florence ones have come out, they're like flying off the shelf.
Yeah, we just went to another board shop and they had like a good range of all our gear on the wall, and we asked them and it was the same thing. It was like hooded rash guards flying off the shelves. I think it was weird because there was a few brands with them, and obviously like as surfers we love the rash guards for like just utility using it. I used them since I was super young, but never the hooded ones. They just weren't popularized. They were kind of like thought of as like kooky and uncool.
Yeah.
And then few episodes of John and the boys ripping in them changed that pretty quickly. John's doing backflips and crazy shit on them.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, time to wear them.
Has that move been? So are you still with Vans or?
So Vans is looking like it's going to be a shoe wear only deal.
Yeah.
So I was with Vans for 20 years. So like great relationship with the company. And at first it was kind of like, hey, like I can't pass up this opportunity to like work with family and do the whole family. Like,
Yeah.
there's no option here. Like,
How does that convo go with John? Does he invite you, or do you come with him? Or
it was like, he was like, man, wouldn't it be sick? And I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like, did we just become best friends? Karate in the garage. Let's go.
Ivan's looking through the window.
But like seeing the sticker on the board, I'm sure I speak for everyone. It just feels right.
It feels so
I, like,
right, yeah.
Seeing the footage, I was like, that's so sick.
And it's like it's
Literally
interesting
flying the
because
flag.
literally flying the flag. It's the name, but also like it's more of me and my personality, you know, and like the things I'd like to do in the water and around the water and how I act. And Vans in their clothing was more like, I felt like at times it was like kind of hipstery and like that style was more, whereas like they didn't make the hooded rash guards and things like that, you know. And like I just was like, man, I just want to surf for 8 hours a day and like be able to go anywhere, cold or hot, and have gear that's just going to let me be in the water as long as possible. Vans makes great gear, but Florence made gear more tailored to that.
Yeah.
And so it fit on every level.
Yeah, and it's good you and your brother like embarking on like changing the future
Yeah,
of surfing and water sports and what it is, all your passions. Like
totally. You have like with the whole world knows, with the surf world at least knows what the brands have been up to and how those things, they just changed a lot, right? They went to massive licensing deals and selling for super cheap products that fell apart quickly and lost their core consumers who were just surf fans and fans of the surfers that were sponsored by those brands. And those brands went, you know what? It's more about us and not the athletes that are running the show. And when they did that, I think they shot themselves in the foot. And they were like, when they started to think it's more about their marketing departments and not the athletes representing the brands and their fan bases. Because if you think back to like the golden age of surf, that was some of the most like core fandom in surfing. There was like core followings of like the AI Kelly rivalries and like all the Australian guys coming up and the Trilogy show, and like, you know, like guys were like diehards for the surfers.
Yeah.
And the brands seemed to have like, to me at least, they like forgot that and thought, oh, it's us and our magic hands in the departments, not us surfers making these consumers be psyched to buy.
Yep.
They went that direction. We're like, well, that's a great opportunity for us because we're surfers and we make gear for surfers, people who enjoy the water. Perfect fit.
Yeah, it's just, and the way all of you is like the way you lead by example, and like it's just so cool as well seeing you doing what you're doing what you love, and you're obviously you got the CEO of the Ab Tours, and you're chasing waves all around the world, and you're paving your future and doing it's so authentic. You're down that road. John's still competing, and he obviously does what he does when he's not competing, comes on some of those trips. But you kind of got it's so well rounded as a brand already. Like you kind of get both aspects to it.
Totally.
The guy who's competing, the guy who's not, and equally, surf is an avenue for every surfer, every water lover to follow.
I agree. It's like it was a very good combination of two things. John's got the Olympics and chasing titles still, and I have what I'm doing with the YouTube and the Slab tour and just the general exploration and adventure and chase.
I was wondering, that trip that John went with you, was it Solomon Islands? Where you were on that boat going out there, or ship, should I say?
How sick was that?
Man, it was so nuts. But I was
The
thinking,
rockiest boat in the world.
It was
What's
a
that?
mission.
The rockiest
Yeah.
boat in the world.
yeah, that I was thinking, is this going to freak John off the Slab tour? Or is he going to be frothing on it? Like, how did it go?
It was really interesting because like it just was even the lead up right to making the decision to go on the trip. It started to be a lot of logistics and get a bit stressful. And like before we had funny conversations where like John was like, like I gotta be here every single month and like compete with a world title on the line. Like what you do is easy. It's not stressful at all. And then planning for that trip, he was like, I'm so over this. Like, at least I know where I'm going to be every month of the year. The decision is made, like, but just making the call to chase the swell and spend the resources and like commit with the possibility of not scoring, that stress, like he hadn't felt in a while. And so I was just laughing. I was like, yeah, you thought it was like just breezy, which when you're scoring, it is.
Yeah.
But when you go and you spend it and you do the mission and you don't score, you're just gutted. So like that was super funny combination of that, like the lead up and him being like, all stressed out about it. But yeah, once we got there, it was obviously huge. We're getting on the boat. One of the crew goes, I'm not getting on. And the captain's like, it's all good. And like one of our crew didn't get on. We're like, why? He's like, I just said the waves are like too big. Like, and I'm like, are we doing an overnight channel crossing? He's like, it's okay. We're going to make it work. I was like, whoa. Yeah. But obviously you saw what we rocked up to.
Yeah.
That was like giant period in the water, 17, 18 second period, huge open ocean swell in the Pacific. And we started seeing waves where like you're looking at a reverse choke wave of a lifetime and you're just thinking like, whoa, like I was like, I want to get out in the water and get close to it, like maybe there's opportunity. And John's like, hey, like there's no flying out of here, like more like reasonable thinking, like no, I don't think it's worth it, it's getting late, we don't have a ski. And I'm like, I'm gonna get close and film it with my GoPro. Maybe I can catch one. He's like, no, like let's not do it. And we had this like funny back and forth where like he was trying not to say don't do it in case we went ahead and did it. So that wasn't in my mind, you know, like he was trying not to be like, I don't think it's a good idea because it's too dangerous, because he didn't want to like say it outright. And I was kind of trying to say like, I didn't want him to end up surfing and then me have been like, yeah, let's go, and like have pushed him. Yeah. So we were kind of like, it was like a standoff, and I was like, okay, I'll just go look. You drive the dinghy. And he's like, okay, deal. Let's do that.
Both just start whistling. Whatever happens.
It was just like, he was thinking smart for sure, because both of us surfing, like we didn't have a ski, no safety, and the dinghy was our safety. But it really, at the end of the day, wouldn't have been able to do anything. And if you got hurt, you would have been properly fucked. Yeah. There's no, like, you're done for sure. And so I ended up just getting in the water to look at a few and then getting caught by the biggest one. Yeah. And just what was funny is John was like, you're just going to paddle out there and get caught inside. That's what's going to happen. I was like, no, it's all good. It's a shelf. I know where to sit. And the whole ocean just drained off this reef shelf and folded over on me. I was like,
that is some, you've got some crazy footage, but that is some of the, like, your stomach sinks when you watch that.
Yeah.
Were you filming from the beach? Were you?
I was filming with the drone off the dinghy. Yeah.
Fuck. What were you thinking?
That was the first set that, like, all the sets were breaking kind of where he was sitting in the right spot. And then that one, it just dropped sea level and it was sucking under, and it was like, I don't know, maybe like 40, 50 feet outside of you. Like there was nothing you could have done. And I was just looking at the monitor like, Oh no, Nate's about to get smoked.
Just continue recording.
Yeah, you're like, we've got a great video for his funeral though.
Well, if it happens, I'll get the video.
Yeah. And it's lost in translation all the time, right? When you're there and you feel it, you know how remote it is. It's so much heavier. But for it to even look heavy, you know, well, when they're there, they're like, that is nuts.
Yeah, it's a crazy place, and that whole setup is really strange. Like, it's like 1,000-foot drop off on the shelf, and from within a 50-foot radius, it goes from 1,000 to 20 to 10. So like the reef just goes like slow slope up, you know, which could make a potential for a great wave.
Yeah.
What we all would call a slab, but there it caused that effect of like certain size ones were breaking on this level, but the mega one just sucked the whole ocean off of it.
Yeah.
Spooky stuff.
Any slab that's long, that's the combination that's
yeah. Usually they're short and deep on the other side.
And come the end of that trip, was he, I'm into this slab tour, or is he, I'm back on the CT?
No, he was loving it. He was loving it. Yeah, like the whole sense of it, the adventure, the hunt, like all that stuff kicks in. Like even though we didn't we never really, we got good waves, but we didn't like properly score like both of us arms up 10-footers dream, you know, like we didn't do that, but the adventure itself and the attempt and the ones we saw that got away, like that whole vibe, like he loves that stuff.
Yeah.
We grew up in a place where there's like the best waves in the world really close at hand, but like some of the most fun times we had was like taking the skis out or we had like a little tiny whaler with a like tiny little 2-stroke engine. We would just go hunt for any little rock shelf, and like finding one was some of the most fun sessions we had. So we've always had that like sense of when you go out and find something, it doesn't have to be the best wave in the world. It's just, but it's equally as fun as maybe the best wave because you found it and you're alone and it's an adventure.
Yeah.
So he has that sense too. And I think like within the next few years, he'll be probably dominantly only doing that. And you know, he's got his boat. He's going to take off on his sailboat and go find some crazy stuff, I'm assuming.
Do you sail as well?
I'm not as committed as he is. Like he can run a pretty big sailboat solo.
Yeah.
But I'm more deckhand on those things. Like, tell me what to do. I can't. Don't leave me alone on this thing. Like, I'm a liability.
I was randomly once searching these, because I spent a lot of time on Google Earth, I'm sure you do, looking for spots, and came across these islands kind of above Papua New Guinea, northwest, and then I'll find a zone, and then I'll like Google that. And I actually went down this deep, remote rabbit hole once, and then a clip come up that John had actually sailed right near this spot, and I was thinking, fuck, he must have seen this zone.
Oh yeah, I wonder, do you remember the name of it? I think he might have, if it was his trip from Oahu to Fiji.
Yeah,
he stopped somewhere in one of those island chains.
Yeah.
And he said it was like no like crazy waves, but no swell too. So like
when he was there,
was there. But I remember him saying, I stopped at this one island chain and it was just insane. I wonder if it's one of those ones you were talking about.
Yeah.
Is this the old cannibalism?
Yeah,
still active.
Sure.
Still active out there.
I remember you were trying to convince Sarah, you're like, this is the place now to go film. And you're like,
family holiday?
It's the old vacation. It's like, we'll get eaten. It's sunny though.
Disguise the family holiday trip as a slab hunting trip.
Yeah.
You're going to love it. It's all buffet.
Subtle detail. One subtle detail.
Do you have to disguise your trips, or it's out there?
I've had some hilarious Europe trips. Like, babe, we're going to Europe. We're going to do the whole thing. And she's like, oh, I'm thinking like Italy and Rome. And next thing you know, we're like in the most northern part of Scotland. Like, oh, let's ferry across to the outer islands. It's going to be beautiful. And we're just
there was pizza here.
driving 8 hours a day, stopping at every turn in and checking the coast. She's like, what are we doing? I'm like, looking for castles. I'm just looking for slabs the whole time. But she's such a sport. Like, she sat on the rocks and filmed me with a handy cam for hours. So, like, she loves it
just
too.
hypothermia, like
but like claw, like she just like this the rest of the day. I'm like, it was worth it.
That's what made some of your YouTube videos, like just the remoteness and her literally commentating like it's just used to just like, this is not a normal couple. Like
she's a champion and she's so supportive, and it's fun when like you get to do that kind of scoring with your partner, because
Yeah.
like a lot of the times it's so separate, and it's either them telling you about something or you're telling them about an adventure. But when they feel like they're a part of it and they actually end up capturing a special moment, so fun.
Yeah. You're a long lost body. Have you ever bodyboarded?
I just like in the shore break at home growing up,
Yeah.
I like was on a bodyboard a lot more than a surfboard when I was first starting. Like John was always out there practicing air reverses, and I was like, I'm going sand sliding. Probably the reason my small wave surfing isn't competitive.
Yeah.
What was that like growing up at such an iconic place of the world, like especially in the trench in the surfing world? That must have been, I know it's normal, but it must be surreal as well.
No,
Like,
it
you walk
is
out the
really.
door.
You can't help but appreciate it. And it's like when, like I said earlier, when you have such quality waves in such number so close at hand, it's like you appreciate where you grew up and whatever circumstances and luck and fate put you there to have that. You appreciate it so much. At least I do. Like it was awesome. To grow up in front of or near pipe and have just those beaches and the range of waves and power, and be able to like, have a knowledge of an ability to surf them in the way my mom pushed us to. Like obviously when we were young, my mom was like pretty hardcore beach all day, like surf, don't come in, like stay out there, don't come home till dark, beach time, go to the beach, can't leave the beach till dark. When you're a grom, you're like, oh fuck, I'm so burnt, like fuck this. And then now I'm like, thank God she did that, because like to have a career doing this wouldn't have been possible without that push.
Yeah.
And so I have the best job in the world just surfing for a living.
How many years were you in that house? Because I used to travel to Hawaii from around, I think, 97, 98. But you used to have that little half pipe next to the park.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we got to skate it a couple of times. But I'm trying to think, like, you must have been, how old were you in around 99? Like 5 years old or something?
Yeah, 5 years old, we would have been in that house. And that house was actually super interesting because that was like a bodyboard house.
Yeah.
We had like 12 bodyboarders sleeping on the floor all winter because my mom would like rent rooms or rent floor space pretty much. And the bodyboarders didn't care to like, they weren't looking for some luxury house. They're like, if there's a floor to sleep on, I'll sleep there. Yeah. And they were serving pipe all day. And that was back like, I swear there was way more bodyboarders and they would roll around in BMX crews at that time, like all of them with the pegs on the back. Like there's a huge crew.
That was us.
I swear,
I didn't actually stay there, but I was
at
on the
least
BMX
12 of them were staying at our house. I remember like getting up in the morning and just walking across their backs while they're sleeping. They're like, I'm gonna fuck off me. Like, I don't care, like, yeah. So from a pretty much a young age, like we had a ton of bodyboarder friends growing up too. And I think that as I grew up and traveled, you know, like I never had that animosity that surfaced other places or in other whatever surf cultures of the bodyboarder versus surfer thing. I never had it. I grew up with bodyboarders always around.
So cool. You definitely got that spirit of chasing the slab, like which a lot of bodyboarders sort of pride themselves on.
I'm inspired by a lot of them. A lot of the videos I watch to get hyped up are bodyboard videos because one, the exploration and the willingness to go the distance to find new stuff, but also the technique and the positioning and how they do what they do. And a lot of the first times waves have been ridden have been by them. And so I love watching that kind of stuff.
I was just thinking of when Vaughn, like he was saying about how much respect he had for bodyboarders. Like any slab you rocked up to, you'd always see like a little Corolla rock up and 20 bodyboarders get out of like clouds. So brutal. Hungover, like, it was the funniest visual. Just doing it for the stoke.
Yep, full on.
Just pushing it. It's great. But like even what's the different age gap between you and Ivan? Or is
2
Ivan
years.
Youngest?
Yeah, he's the youngest. We're all 2 years.
Yeah, and he's paving his way as well. Like Mr. Cool.
Yeah, Mr. Cool is exactly that. Like I guaranteed best style of the brothers. Like so fun to watch and so talented, and like he's the one who kept up the most and skate and snow. And so he has this crazy tri-sport ability where like he's getting 10 footers at pipe and chopes, and then he's doing backflips when he goes snowboarding, and he's like doing skating the craziest bowls and doing loops and like all the crazy grinds and tricks. I'm just like, you can keep that cement slam. I don't want to slam on no cement. The guy has a crazy pain tolerance.
Are you the only one with the YouTube? Or does John have one as well?
John has a YouTube. He just doesn't do, his content is so different, right? He's like coming off View from a Blue Moon ever since then. And he did the 12 series, and his content is really good storytelling and really cinematic and put together, and like great content in a way different way than mine. Like mine's just like constantly going and very raw. So he doesn't put out as much as I do, but he does put great stuff on his.
That's what I was wondering, because I come from a background of when we used to film, you wouldn't show anything until the movie would come out. And now like it's so refreshing to see you go on a trip and then it's up like straight away.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Like it's thanks to this guy a lot of the time too, and being willing to go the distance with that. But it's also part of what surfing has changed into, with how we have to compete with like a surf line.
Yep.
Right. They're like racing us to get a clip out because they want the hits first. And I'm like, fuck, we're the team on the other end. Like we're the surfers. Like we should be getting the benefit, not like clicks to your website where you're running your ads. Like the surfer should have that. And that was a big reason we did the channel, and a big reason we got so consistent with it. And on top of that we're very active. So we put a lot of content out, and we do it. If we don't do it every week, we've had trips like and sessions that have never surfaced.
Yeah, there's so many days left behind that
we just move on to the next
never
one.
See the surface, unfortunately.
Just too much clips because we're always chasing.
It's nuts. It's normally the other way, right? Where you've
It is, and guys are like, I took 5 years to make this film. And I'm like, fuck, what a stressful thing to do. Like, imagine all the incredible footage you had to cut out of that because you took 5 years to make it. And by the end, you're so desensitized to what you're looking at. And like, incredible footage needs to be cut because now the pressure of making this crazy film is on you. Like, show it all. Like, great advantage for us, though. Like, keep making their films. We'll keep doing what we do.
What about, I'm sure you must get heat. Like, we last year started bringing out a few attention behind the scenes.
I love those episodes.
Cheers.
I watch them all.
You go to a zone and people aren't happy. So I imagine you've got a bigger platform. So you must be getting more complaints.
Yeah, there's like definitely certain times people were like pissed, but we've never like actively blown out a spot. Like there are people who with YouTube channels that are like, hey, this is where I am. But like places that are sensitive, like we've done trips where we've shown plane tickets to a different country.
Yeah.
And rocked up and surfed.
I accidentally did that once to Guam, and then it turns out there was fucking good waves there.
Yeah.
That's the trouble,
right? Inadvertently blew out
then
a
you
different
get yelled
spot.
at by the people in Guam. You're like, no, it wasn't even there. Fuck.
That's worse.
Yeah, totally. But we try to be really careful. Like if there's like a local crew that's like, hey, please keep this place quiet. We're not going to show any landmarks. We're not going to blow any names out. We'll move it to a different country if we have to. And if they're totally over it, we don't film it.
Yeah.
You know, we've had sessions where we've just never surfaced because it's not worth it to blow relationships or burn bridges in places. I want to keep traveling and making friends and not like be on the other side of that of guys like, fuck that guy, like never let him in anywhere, word of mouth. You know, like I don't want to be like that. If people are really sensitive about a spot, I'm just like, you can have it, man. Like
just try to stay away from the
I'll
drama
go somewhere else. I'll go farther and farther away until there's no one there at all.
But you know the blueprint you guys are doing, it's just doing what you want to do, but it's growing to what it's grown to. The eyes that you're getting on your videos is more than what realistically that old method of doing movies, releasing a film, doing premieres and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, your method is showing there's like the proof in the pudding.
Yep.
But I was thinking, you know, a lot of people hold on to waves. They don't want them to be seen. We were chatting about this a while ago, but do you subscribe to that? It loses its effect if you've seen it before, or do you reckon like, imagine you put it together the sickest slab tour movie now of the last 2 years, and you put a film together and you toured it.
I think
it would be the exact same stoke.
It's insane when you see footage on the big screen.
Yeah.
And with good speakers and at a big event and people are drinking beers and having a good time. Like those events, like it's still going to have the same effect. You're going to still get chicken skin on the craziest clips. Like crazy clips are crazy clips. And when they're on a big screen with good sound, like it's so much different than tuning into like a vlog on YouTube.
Yeah. But do you think that people are still stuck in that way of
100%.
I've got to hold on to this? It's like, I don't think it actually changes it whatsoever.
I think, people are definitely still stuck on it. And like, I've like told friends that aren't, I'm like, oh, like, man, like, do you want to be a pro surfer and surf for a long time, getting sponsored to surf? Then don't hide your clips, because like brands do not care now. some guys are lucky where their brands are like, all we care about is a movie once a year. That's like a very rare deal. But other ones are like, we haven't seen you in 2 years because you haven't posted a clip in 2 years. And then you put your film out and some guy's weekly YouTube got way more views than it. Like, that's how it is now. So like,
it's the modern landscape.
In a way, I'm like, wow, you got to adapt or don't and keep making your films because it leaves the door wide open for us.
That's what I did to see.
Yeah, what I was going to say is, what was it, like a month or 2 months ago now, that little premiere, everyone put together a few minutes of clips. It was all clips of you everyone's already seen, but it was in a different format on a big screen and everyone was still hyped on it.
Oh, the reaction to it was like crazy. Like our buddy put together Koa. He just said, hey, everyone make a 3-minute part. We'll put it into one 30-minute film. Such a fun idea.
Yeah.
It was a great idea on his part. And we didn't release it on the internet. It's just for strictly show up event. Like people who showed up got to see it. And everyone, because it wasn't on the internet, there's no copyright infringement. You could just loudspeaker the absolute best song you want, your favorite song to your favorite clips, which makes a super sick edit.
It's so good.
Yeah. And so, like you said, we did that and people were just tweaking. All the clips were seen already. People were screaming.
Just not in that order.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the experience that's in the room at that moment as well. And on the big screen, everyone, like you said, you get goosebumps no matter what.
Yeah.
We've done a few live podcast shows where they've been nuts and they're like a blend of like stand-up comedy, live sort of interviews with crew, and then Whitey shows a lot of his like the Tension 11 preview that he's working on at the moment.
That's so fun. That's so fun.
Big screen, everyone's wooing and going nuts, beers like spilling on people's shoulders. Like, but you can't. That energy in the room is there, regardless of someone not seen the clip ever before, or if they've seen it 100 times on YouTube. It's still 100%. The froth.
Mm-hmm. I will say though, like on the other side of that, like when I was here the other year and I went into the theater and I saw Kirby Brown's movie. And I had never seen any of those clips. Ooh, I had never seen any of that. And I had no idea he was working on anything. I went in to like no knowledge at all. And when I was confronted with that film, I was so baffled. Like baffled. I've watched it like 10 times. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like, and so there is that side of it, you know, like on that scale, like if you're going to do the film, then do something like that.
That's like something of beauty that though.
It really is. It's art. Like
that's like similar to what you're saying about John. Like I know when his movie, like it's similar the way it's shot. It's like it's like a journey, but it's that's just a completely different audience. It's a piece of art. And
it is really,
that Kirby one's, it's like beautiful violence. Like
it really is. And I was like, the whole world needs to see this. Like this is even if you're not a surfer, you will appreciate not just the story and like the human nature, but like that movement of water and the human being in that, like in those waves.
And the love, like the brotherhood and just like the endless quest to try like kind of find happiness in like chaos. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's beautifully done.
That's
probably as brothers as well. It probably gets you, there's so many endless opportunities for you, Ivan and John as well. Like it must get you kind of getting your creative juices flowing. That is something you can look at down the track.
Totally. And that's what I love about what we do and what John does.
Yeah.
Is he's really like, a lot of people think, oh, John's got like a great production crew and he does. He has a great team around him, but he really does produce those. Like he's not just like, oh, I did the surfing, you guys put the film together. Like he has creative idea. He's making editing changes, coloring changes, song changes. Like he's really, people don't realize that. Like he's very hands-on with what is produced on the content side of things. Like a lot of that is his artistic notion of what it should be like. Yeah. It comes off like that. So like, yeah, that's such a sick call, like down the road to do something with the three brothers together.
Yeah, but with your brand, like that's, I guess, having that creative freedom. That's what makes it exciting, right? The opportunities are endless.
Yep.
But I imagine we enjoy doing the potty, and like I just love doing stuff, having fun with mates, no matter what it is. Like you talk about going on those adventures. You get often some of the best memories of my life are like going to look for waves of friends, and you get skunked, but it was so fun, just the whole journey. And then at night time, you're having beers or just doing stupid shit. But that's stuff you remember. You're like,
yep, totally.
And like you guys, it must be cool. You guys as mates, like traveling the world together, doing what you're doing. Like there's nothing better than that. Earning money as well, which like you're just doing your passion. and you're getting paid and traveling the world. That's the dream.
It's so good.
Did you just grow up together, or
we didn't?
No.
Just met through business?
He was shooting pipe photos at Pipe actually, and I was like thinking about starting a channel, and kind of word got out. I think one day at the beach, we were walking up the beach. He had sent me like some nice pipe photos, and I just said like, "Hey man, you want to start a YouTube channel together?" He's like, "Yeah, let's go." I had no idea who he was. Like, I was like, "Let's do a trial month," and then little did we know we would just be like such close friends by the end of it. Like, so much in common, and that's what you really need. Like, you need a friend that like you can have a blowout with and recover, and like you're still friends after. You know, like you need to be tight, and like we've had all that. We've had ups, downs, like adventures every which way, bad trips, good trips, and like. When it all works, it just makes the content that much more better. And so I scored with this guy.
Yeah. You get to see what people made of when times are getting tough.
Yeah, you do. Really. Yeah. When you've traveled for 45 hours and you're waking up, barely no sleep, and either filming on the beach all day in the sun or surfing all day, like, you know, you fucking get through it mentally. Yeah. so
I think it shows as well your lightheartedness. You can tell you like, in having the time of your life, and you're like really present and enjoying it. You know how special it is, what you're doing and all that. And that's so important, eh? Because like once you're older, like now I've had kids and all that, like I look back with such fond memories of all the travel I used to do. And I'm like, man, that was the best time. But
you never really, like, all the bad parts sort of fade away and only like the good parts remain. Yeah. That's like some of the worst experiences. I think back on them and like, it's real hard to remember the really bad parts. You kind of just think of it in a positive, like even like the big beat downs, you're like, oh, I did get that pretty sick one. Like, even when it's a shocking session. So
you're like, I'll suppress that.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Great for my health.
Gifted with a goldfish memory.
So I don't know. I was just thinking of you like saying to the wrong guy, some homeless guy with a camera from San Fran. Like, this was a good ticket.
That's a good time.
Yeah, Hawaii is the place.
What's the worst beatdown so far?
Like in my life?
Or just on the slab tour?
I would say like it's goes back to what we were just saying, right? Like I have gifted with a short memory of the bad events. So like they've progressed over certain years, and it really wasn't like I broke my back at Jaws, but that doesn't seem like the worst one. Almost like I had a really bad one this last year at Mulligmore where it was just pumping. I paddled out and was real fired up. And you know that some of the times you have those sessions where you're like, your mindset's really good and you're like, I'll go on anything. And it was a really good day. And my first wave I went on, I just airdropped the whole way top to bottom and just thumped. I'm like, all right, I'm all good. I've done this a million times, but like just not on that caliber of wave. And I went over, and when I've gone over the falls in previous times, like it's always been like a slow, then boom. But like when you go over slow, sometimes you miss the main violence, I felt, and with my experience. But this time I went over slow, but when I hit, it was like such an extreme impact of like energy of underwater. I didn't hit the bottom or anything. It was just water, but it was so extreme that I got dazed, and whatever time, a little bit of time passes. It's all seconds underwater. Right? It's a beat down. But I realized like, oh shoot, I'm getting driven down again, like deep off the ledge. And I went to pull my vest, and it was my pulleys were gone. And I was like reaching around underwater, like what? I'm getting driven deeper. My ears were aching. I was like, fuck, where's my pulleys? Like, and then I realized my hood had gotten pulled off and like had come up over my head, but was still attached on the zipper here. So like it had gone this way over, and with it getting pulled over, it had taken all my pulleys of my inflation suit and tucked them in the corner of my neck. I couldn't get under the hood to them. And I just realized like after hitting like max depth, I was like, I don't have a pool right now. Like, fuck, I got to stop like messing with this and like start trying to swim. And like that thought of like, you know, like you have that thought of, I have the backup. I'm going to pull the suit. I'm going to shoot to the surface. And then you going to do it and not being there. Like, it was just such a devastating feeling. I was so dark down there. Like that water is dark green, and it was a cloudy day, early morning. So it was just pitch black behind my eyes, and it was just like not good, but it ended up being okay. I just took like, I don't know, it was like 8 or 9 strokes to get to the surface.
But as you're coming up, you like, hope there's not another one.
Yeah, I was, and I got really lucky. I came up in the swell of the next one, not a 2-wave set.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
I would have been 2 for sure. And then
Was the crew looking for you?
yeah, there was a Irish safety team. He was right there, and he was like, he wasn't really phased. And I was like kind of traumatized. Takes a lot for me to get like that. I was kind of like dazed. And he's like, get on, and got on. I thought he was going to tow me into the channel, and he just towed me straight out, like out to the lineup because there's only 2 people out, me and this one other guy. And so he just whipped me back into the lineup. He's like, do it again. I was like, oh, I'm sad. But like, it just made me like, I'm here for the swell. My very first wave. It's 20 to 30. Like I saw the tow guys getting 30-foot barrels. Like some of the craziest waves I've ever seen come through in the ocean were coming through. And like we were trying to paddle these medium ones, and I was just like, what am I gonna do? Like take one wipeout and go in? And so I kind of had to just be like, fuck, I'm here for it. Like took like maybe 30 full minutes for the goldfish memory to click in.
Yeah.
Forgot the trauma, got back on the horse, and had 2 more beatdowns in a row. And I was like, by the end, and the guy kept grabbing me and ripping me back out to the lineup. And then whatever, it's a long going on about it. The session turned. I got some great waves in the end.
Yeah.
Super stoked. I only made 1 wave the whole day, but it was a good one. So like I said, like there's always a positive, but yeah, that one was just more than anything. It mentally spun me for at least a few hours.
Yeah. And was the Shippies one that I just watched a microcosm of that? Like I remember
it was
after
totally
4 waves, you said something like, it's just not my day. And I was like, as a viewer, I was like, really felt for you. I was like, fuck, it's not his day. Like,
yeah, that's how I was getting. I was. It's funny when you're pushing at those waves, like I feel like you have a gas tank of willpower, and it's all high, and you have tons of will to like push it and push through the fear. Take 3 or 4 hold downs and skip along the bottom, and like that tank's kind of empty. You have like less want to go again.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing at Shipsterns. I was like, dude, like, okay, I did 3 or 4 gnarly beatdowns. Like, what happens on 5th, 5 or 6? Like, I really can't really take another one. Like, I don't want to take another one. I'm really over taking another one.
Yeah.
like I really, really don't want to fall again.
Yeah.
Because it's just like too many. And, you play the odds of like one of these falls, like it's not going to end as well as it has in the last 4. I might slam my head on the bottom, or my board might hit me. Like, luckily I just changed boards. And
did you go shorter, was it?
I went shorter, went to a 6.4 and I didn't fall again the rest of the session.
So made that much. How big was the one you were riding?
It was a 6.6, which is
So
funny.
just
Like
millimeters.
2
Eh?
inches.
yeah, those waves were like, the tide was low too. It was a combination, but it's funny because my
Kip
buddy,
was right.
yeah, Kip,
What did he say?
Kip Caddy, like he's like, I said, I think I'm gonna try a 6.6, a little more length. He's like, bro, I tried a 6.6. It's terrible out there. Don't do it. It doesn't fit in the wave. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm gonna try a 6.6. Like that's just how I am. Like, need to learn the hard lessons myself. I can't be told.
Yeah.
And I learned that lesson, and definitely will, unless it's like a weird, really high tide swell. I'm not riding a 6.6 again out there.
Fuck. And what size is that? You're riding a Fiji in that massive pit.
That was at 8.5.
I can't believe you have to ride such different boards.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like, it's so fun though.
Yeah.
To be like, that swell is just, it's so rare to be on a big wave that clean. That wasn't like, it wasn't anything scary because it was so perfect and clean.
Yeah.
Which is so rare. That was the rarest thing about the swell, was the conditions. We always get big waves, but they're never clean.
Yeah.
And so to have like, you just feel so comfortable, and like the blueness of like just the day was insane.
So beautiful.
You know what I couldn't get over? How thick your leggy was. It's like freaking thicker than this Orcs quarter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was really thick.
It was a barrel rope.
Yeah, full battle rope.
I was looking at your tail, your GoPro on the tail. I was thinking, surely that leash can wrap and pull that straight off.
Yeah, we've rest in peace to quite a few tail cams in the attempt to nail the tail cam clip.
Oh, have you lost good footage on a tail cam?
Yes, really bummed.
Thank
Just
God,
the
not
first day at Shipsterns too, right?
First day at Shipsterns, I lost on the 4th wipeout. I lost the tail cam. So I mean,
you
those
lost
were
the footage of the others.
I think the one where I was in the barrel and aired off the step, I think that clip was gonna be crazy because it was a huge barrel and I aired off the step and the board tilted up. And so the tail would have been real high, seeing me cartwheel. Great. I think it would have been the craziest wipeout clip, but that camera
Sam
just
and
got
crew in
blanks.
Tassie, go find this GoPro.
Yeah.
It'll turn up, man.
It'll turn up
One
somewhere.
day for sure.
It'll be a local film, man.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. Sorry. I've just gone back to that. Yeah. Blue Fiji day. Yeah, nuts, eh?
Yeah, that was like some of the prettiest footage we've gotten.
So perfect.
Yeah, that day, those days,
And
just
that
really
wave just lined up perfectly with the boat because the boats are always moving, and then someone else is in the way. Or
And you had Tom in the water too.
yeah,
Tom solo in the water. I couldn't believe, like, no one else was swimming. He had it to himself. Like, and he swam for like 6 hours straight. It was crazy.
He's a machine, eh?
Yeah, he's a machine. Like, Daniel Russo was on a ski there, and he was like helping him out because the current was bad, which was epic because like getting him back in position a few times. And Tom just, I mean, I'd imagine that was one of like the coolest sessions he's filmed, because to him to be able to have been there solo in those big blue barrels, the only guy in the pit, like, he would be freaking on the footage. We were stoked to have him
all lined up. The framing you put up or shot you put, like seeing it was so blue.
yeah.
And it looked almost like a painting.
Yeah,
And he would, and like just everything was lined up. The multi angles you had covered.
it's so funny, right? That
Skits.
Tom Lowe told me that in Ireland. He said you can ride the wave of your life, but if it's not captured properly, no one will ever know it.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that. I'm like, we've gotten so lucky with being able to capture from multiple angles these like certain waves. And that was like that day at Fiji was like, you had drone, you had channel, you had water. Like, it was just all captured. Everyone got the angles they'd ever dream of in those barrels.
And
Like,
your one, the GoPro, but when the sun's like perfectly aligned.
the GoPro tail cam clip
It looked
came
like-
out
It was
insane.
insane.
That was so funny because guys were rousting me. The rest of the guys in the house, they're like, that's not going to work. I'm setting it up. I'm like, you don't know it's going to work. They're like, that's never going to work. You need like the long pole tail cam. And I'm like, nah, if the barrel's huge and it's tilted up, it's going to work.
And the sun, it was like,
I was like,
You
oh.
almost fake filmed it with your own arm, eh?
Yeah, this is reflexive.
Yeah.
but I get psyched to read some, you read the comments and that, and it was like all these old guys that go like, I'm 72 years of age. I've been surfing for my whole life. You've been taking me on a journey. And someone was like, that is the best footage I've ever seen, like 3 minutes 38 or whatever. And it was like that.
Yeah.
Like it was the stoke of like the variety of audience that feel like they're along for the ride.
I love that.
Dream
I
of
love
shit.
that.
They're
Yeah.
never going to be able to do it like often. And it's like they're getting to be there.
I love that for them. That's so
You see a lot
fun.
though,
I see those and I just get so stoked because I'm like, I didn't think about it that way. Like,
Yeah.
and a lot of people like hate the GoPro, right? They hate seeing people use them. And the filmers, Tom, like, is so many comments. Chris Ryan, like, am I ever gonna film a clip of you without that fucking GoPro in your mouth? But like, then there's those guys that are like, man, I would never know what the inside of the box looks like, or like certain waves. Like, that's so fun. I got to get taken in there.
Yeah. How many do you reckon you've gone through GoPros?
You know what? I was on a killer like 3-year roll of like 1 or less a year. I was using these GoPro 8s. They don't have the like detachable lenses, and they're just very small, light, and so durable.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the 2022 Slab Tour year, I may have lost only one that whole year. And
Wow.
I surfed like over 25 different waves, like heavier waves, like throughout the year. I was pretty psyched on that.
Man, you should do a slab tour, like metal shirt, and have the tours on the back. So, like, it's all question marks. You don't
Like
release
a
where you
rock
were.
band.
Yeah,
like a rock band, Metallica style.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
and you,
That'd be
with
so
a GoPro
sick.
at the bottom of the Shipsterns in the water.
Yeah, we're our buddy the guy that does the graphics for Florence. I was just hitting him up about doing a Slab Tour logo.
You got to.
Got to do some fun little Slab Tour member shirt, even if it's just like for Grom. I want to do something fun, like Grom send in a little clip of them sending, and they get a member shirt.
Yeah.
They get to rock. It'd be fun.
And don't you reckon for every comment you get, like the 70-year-old saying, I would never see a barrel like that, makes it worth, say, 10 dudes saying, don't come back to this spot or whatever. Like,
Totally.
it evens it out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like you work with the North Shore Retirement Village any day. Yeah, my mates love it.
Yeah. What about what's the update with the new Tension film coming
Oh,
out?
dude, I was hoping that I'd have so much more footage.
Really?
Just with family now and trying to fit it all in time-wise, like kids, school and all that. So it's been a lot longer process than I imagined. So
I'm freaking to see it.
I was pumping out 1 or 2 movies a year when I was younger. And now I've already been filming since, when was it? Like 2021, you reckon?
Yeah.
When did we do that
It
from
was
Joke One?
2021.
Yeah, so I've been filming for like 2 years. I still don't have enough footage.
Dang.
But you know what? People have waited, you've waited. It's been a lengthy time since you've last done one.
Mhm.
You just got to do it. Everyone's happy to wait more. Just do it
Yeah.
right.
It's going to be
You're
huge.
not right. You're only going against your own clock in a way. It's like,
Yeah.
just get it right, capture it, and then you know when you've got it.
And there's this new spot I want to get that no one's ever seen. So
That's
once
so fun.
I'm waiting for that.
Do you think after you put it out, you'll go into like doing per trip YouTube style, like some of those
I
behind the
guess,
scenes?
yeah. I love, like you, the camaraderie. Like we've been going on trips like Louis and Dan and all these dudes.
Those
and-
videos are so fun. I was hoping you were going to just turn it into like the weekly.
Yeah,
the
I wish
weekly
I
ski
could,
hunts
man.
with the
I'd
videos.
do that all the time if I could, but yeah, like I say, I've got so much other priorities and all that. But
Then another Zoard, eh? You got
Drop it on less than 24 hours. We're leaving.
we got deadline.
We're leaving in 4 hours. Pack your bag.
you must have had some frustrating Wi-Fi, like trying to upload with speed and stuff. Hey,
Yeah, we've had some like 2-day uploads.
yeah, oh shit!
We were just like,
I've heard a lot of fishing dudes that go remote. They got the satellite
Starlink?
one, and it's
Starlink?
meant to be shit, eh?
we were on that
experienced it for the
boat
first time. Yeah,
in the Solomons, and it was
it's pretty sick.
It worked for
it
you,
was
yeah. Okay.
insane. I was
I don't remember
baffled.
if we uploaded a video, but it for everything like
A big upload,
pretty
I don't know
decent.
if it's possible, and it would just be like it would just consume so much because those are data packages, I think.
Yeah,
But like you're definitely able to like be on the internet or connected like you would have never been before
yeah,
with that Starlink. It's
yeah,
pretty crazy.
yeah. With the release date, I'm hoping next year, but I could see it dragging on longer if we don't get this. Like, I'll know when it's sort of ready, but it's almost like you're living so present, just doing the constant uploads. Like, I find that really fun, and it's after every trip, I'm like, oh, do I save this or then do I put it out? I'm like, I'm more leaning towards just putting it out, and then it's
Is it like if you like went down that road, like you're like are like the people watching that like are they not into like the YouTube thing? Are they like because I read the comments and a lot of like the bodyboarders are super hyped.
yeah,
Like,
no,
they're like this
for
feels
sure.
like the old films, but like in the newer version
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like episodes, like they seem super fired up.
yeah,
And you're also gaining new audience because of like the new demographic
Mhm.
in the era. So
Yeah.
you're exposing it for that.
yeah, yeah.
So you're
Nah,
wrestling between that, aren't you?
I'm all for it. I just wish I sort of did it earlier.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's so much fun. Like, you kind of live vicariously through like watching you do it. Like, it almost is a hit of a trip, like when you watch someone do it, but it also sparks your own sort of
It's like,
yeah. And you're like, fuck, I've got to go do another trip.
better later than never.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and you boys, while you're here, you hopefully you can score some deep south maybe.
We really want to. I hope I'm like it was one of like the major goals of the year to have something like that come together, but I know it's fickle, so
yeah. Is there any other sort of spots you got your eye on, or just waiting for swells more? I guess.
waiting for swell. I want to surf some of those. Like obviously, I told you earlier, like maybe and the right if it comes together. And obviously, I don't want to like. I'm not. I just want to go out and see it. I've never been out there. I've only seen footage, and I just want to go out and see the thing I was telling you guys earlier. Like you said, the noise of it alone. Like I know what like big chopes is like and like all that stuff. And I'm like the right is the one. I want to hear that lip land. Like
Yeah,
just feel the power of it.
yeah. Where's some of your favorite like strike missions, like chopes or?
No, I went to those like so much when I was young that I just feel like I feel like I lived through like the golden years of paddling at chopes. Now it's like the local kids are just what they're doing is so high level. It's just like they're just running the show.
Yeah.
And like I was there like when I was a Grom, right? That's where I like first really got like into like paddling heavier waves, and it was really just like young Tahure Henry and Simon and those guys out paddling, and like Alvino and like a really small group. Like there was days where it was 12, 15 foot, like right on the ledge of paddle toe. There was like 4 guys paddling, like the dreamiest sessions, like Mark
Yeah.
Healy and me sitting in the lineup, or like just me and the bodyboard crews that were down there. And so going from that and like having ridden the max of what I think I could have done out there, I just like, I don't know. I feel like I don't want to go back for a few years. Like let it do
Yeah.
its thing and see. Like those guys are just like Emio and Matahi. Like what the younger kids are doing there is so high level. It's hard to like go there and be like, I'm gonna get the biggest one.
Yeah.
You know, like that's like a big, you better paddle a tow one then, because those guys are right on the border of it. So for me, it's all about new places, even if it's not the craziest waves. That's why I've gotten recently obsessed with the colder regions, farther north. Further and further north, I want to go.
That's so rare. I know some of the old school Hawaiian bodyboarders used to come here, like chatting with Chris Wan. He used to just freaking hate the cold, like out box and stuff.
I love the tropics.
Yeah. And he's like the wind, like a box when the offshore blows the cold white water on. Yeah, I just remember him like, fuck this. They don't even like putting on wetsuits, a lot of them.
I love it. I feel protected in the suit, and I'm so sensitive to the sun.
Yeah.
Like, in the far north, you surf all day with no sunscreen and you're good.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, yes, this is where I'm meant to be.
Did you ever see Benny Player's
the armor suit?
The armor suit.
So cool.
There's something there, hey?
There's something there, 100%.
Yeah.
I think things will like, there'll be something along those lines. Like, we've even talked about like, you know, with like how all the board related injuries, the stabbings, the artery punctures, things like that. Like, it's like, how can we like do something to protect against those like ones where it's just like, obviously you can still break it anyway if you break your back or your neck or your bones, but like to protect from like puncture and gnarly wounds of that nature, I think there's like a way to like properly make a suit, some material, some Kevlar.
100%, eh?
Like, be really cool.
For your beef, everyone's just from full armor.
That'd be so funny, dude.
Chainmail.
It's so funny.
I was thinking, you know how people go in the big round balls?
Yeah.
You know, you feel kind of indestructible.
Yeah,
in one of
yeah.
them.
They're like hitting them with trucks and
Imagine
stuff. Like,
surfing in one of them. Like just like being on a ski or something, someone just throwing this ball with a human.
someone got to do that the right.
Yes.
Just throw one of them floating in there.
It would be insane, like running like a
Because you
hand.
can breathe.
Yeah, spinning it.
Because you need one real thick where you can breathe in there, eh?
Someone's crazy enough.
Wow.
Maybe have a little bit of oxygen as
Yeah.
well.
Just in
it
case
snaps.
it pops.
Yeah, pop and suction
Man.
done.
That's the shippies off the step. You get a hell running.
Oh,
there.
it would roll down
There's a
it.
lot that can go wrong there.
You could bounce.
Bounce up the rocks, yeah.
Where do we get one of these? I looked into but they were just cheap eBay ones.
Yeah.
So we're going to film this other thing with them anyway. But yeah, in the water.
You guys got to do it. You got to do it.
That's your intro to Henchman Lab.
Yeah. That's the intro scene.
And then just push
Getting pushed into a bomb.
Yeah.
Get Luke to get me in the chopper and just push me out of the chopper into
Oh my gosh.
insane.
You're getting
Caveman
crazy.
onto a wave.
What could you call it?
Oh, fuck. It's a googie egg, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be a
The
googie.
Goop tour. Endless possibilities, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
The other thing I was wondering, totally off topic, have you ever considered getting a wild card? Oh, I know you can't just pick to get a wild card, but into one of them good barrelly comps? Is that on the agenda? Because I was thinking for WSL, like, seems to me anyway, like they're getting a lot of hate, and you're like the people's champ. Like, you would be a good guy to kind of bridge the gap of the people that hate the tour, and then they're like
A BMF kind of style.
BMF style.
Yeah, there's just no way I would even. I have anxiety thinking about committing to being somewhere at any time of the year.
Yeah, just
I love that that's totally opposite to John. Like, you're
Yeah, like it. If I knew it, like you got to be here at this time, no matter what the forecast is like. I'm just like, that sounds like a nightmare.
yeah. So
Like,
you're
I'll
that
show up-
keen just to chase.
I just want to chase swell and
Yeah.
like go to places during their season when it's pumping and post up. Like, yeah, those comps don't interest me at all.
Yeah.
And those guys are really good in barrels. Like, it's not like it's like, unless it's like, you know, I'd have an edge maybe if it's really big chopes. But even then, like, if you ever seen John at really big chopes, like he's kind of like as good as anyone's ever going to be. Like, it's not like you're to walk through event, you know, John Gabriel, like a lot of those guys are really good in barrels. So
Yeah. That's what we'll chat to Norris. He's actually your landlord here. So
Yes.
big shout out to Offshore Escape.
Thanks, Norris.
Beautiful house.
I've seen it
Yeah.
get like golden hour as well out there. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Place is so sick.
But I was saying, because I was considering running the comp at Box, I was like, fuck, you should probably a good bet to get on Jack. And then I thought about it, I was like, also a good bet to get on John.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think they're going to run at the Box?
Well, from what I gather, because they didn't get to run them last 4 heats
Mhm.
today, maybe they won't have time tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it might be at Marks. I don't know, but
I hope it is.
Yeah, you can.
Because I want to surf the box. Water's so warm too right now. Like we surfed in board shorts the other day. I was like, I think I might do box in board shorts and a top.
Yeah, I can't believe you got marinated as well the other day.
The dolphins.
That was sketchy.
We didn't deserve that.
Sketchy.
We're
sketchy.
innocent, man.
Yeah.
Were you flying the
Dolphin
drone
nearly
when that
took
one
me out.
flew you? Were you like,
Came from my head.
were you
that
like,
was
what the
insane.
hell?
I was just following the wave because I think someone was going to go for it, but then they didn't. So I was like, oh, I'll just follow the wave out. And then it just leaped straight towards it.
And
I
they were
was
so
like,
aggressive, so playful, but like there was like that's clip he got, and then the way they're acting, like the thing ripped apart a huge fish all over the reef, and then they all piled on like into the impact water. I wish I had filmed it more with my GoPro because I'd never seen them like, you know, they can skirt the impact and stay in clean water. They were going into the white water in a tight group. I was like, we're out of here.
They're hiding from something.
Yeah, my buddy from Makana. My buddy from Makana Pang from Hawaii. He was out there too. So it's like 2 Hawaii guys. I'm just like, there's white sharks. We're out.
Yeah. Nuts.
That was something that was a sign, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you flying the drone from land?
Yeah.
And did you have a little scout out for it, or you wouldn't have been on the same page, really? Hey.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
went
I
pretty
was
high.
overhead looking at the dolphins. I didn't see anything outside. Maybe I didn't go high enough to really get the way outskirts, but nothing I noticed.
Yeah, I think that. No, I'd seen him come in before and never like that. With that kind of like, they were either just super frisky and because they caught a fish maybe, or they were. I was like, dude, they just baited the thing and jumped on the reef.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Sounds like because it was a baby, hey? So
Yeah, there was a real little one with them, and they were like circled tight on it. I was just like, this is spooky.
1
We are in
plus 1
Western
equals
Australia.
2.
Yeah.
yeah.
Whitey's got shark watch alert. His shark alert's been going off non-stop.
Oh yeah.
Is that what that is?
No, I just get the push notifications. But there was a 6 meter great white in Perth, just 50 meters off the shore. yesterday.
6 meter.
6 meters.
So close.
Yeah.
We
So I
saw one
raced-
over the sandbar the other day.
You saw, yeah.
Got a
'cause it's
sick
salmon
drone
season
shot
down
of
here,
it.
so they're everywhere, right?
Where'd you see it?
Where were we?
I don't know the name of it. It was like one of those little beach,
I don't know the
beach
name
breaks.
of it.
Yeah.
No, it was just a fun little beach, but it was like
like-
right there, like 20 feet offshore, maybe just cruising in shallow sandbar.
That's what I thought
And
with
it was
this one.
crystal clear water. Looks so beautiful.
6 meters though, man. That's
Yeah.
a man eater.
So I raced there, threw the drone out, and I searched for like 4 batteries trying to find it.
Clip.
Didn't find it. But I found a little bait ball, and then I think it was a kingfish. I haven't watched the footage yet. Ripped through this little bait ball.
That's a cool clip.
But if there was a shark, it would have stood out because it was so nice and clear.
6 meters too. That's like swallow you whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so gnarly.
That's like here past the cameras to the TV, eh?
Man, bigger.
Bigger.
It's weird. It's true
Yeah.
because like I was like, you hear people throw around 10 to 12 foot shark, and you're like, oh cool, that's like a mid-sized shark. But then like one day I was holding my 10-foot surfboard in my hands, and I was looking up at it, and I was just like, fuck, if this is like a mid-sized one, like 6 meters, like the sheer size of seeing that in the water, even if you were on a 10-foot gun, would be so scary.
Yeah.
It wouldn't really deter it. Like 10-foot board ain't gonna like a 6 meter one or bigger, 20-foot shark.
Do whatever it wants.
It's just
eh?
like,
It's like a semi truck ramming into a motorcycle.
yeah, you're just
And think about
exactly.
the thickness of it, eh?
the girth.
Yeah, full girth. Because I was looking when you were paddling back to the ski and that Shippy video you put up, you're like, oh, this feels so sketchy. I was like, are there great whites in Tassie? Like, are they?
They're everywhere.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
was like, look, I looked it up and there was crazy fisherman video came up of a great white just like thrashing the boat like in Tassie, and I was like, fuck, well, there are great whites.
That's
I
so
wasn't sure-
scary.
yeah.
Did that channel paddle so many times. I just don't think
That's
about
funny
it.
because we go to so many places where you don't know too much about it. And you're like, oh, there's no sharks here.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, it's the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course there's
Of
sharks.
course.
Because I was always under the assumption there was no like what great whites in Hawaii and that, but there's been some spotted, hey.
But the big blue,
Yeah.
biggest one
That chick
recorded.
swims with them.
Mhm. Crazy. Why would you do that?
Oh, man, it's insane.
Have you ever swam with them or anything?
I did go swim with the smaller ones. Like our buddy owns a Shark Tour boat out of Haleiwa. And you can jump in and no cage and swim with them. Like if you guys ever end up in Hawaii, we'll take you out. It's an epic little deal because obviously when they're smaller, but like they are really it's so interesting to see them like that because they're so curious and they do really act like almost like puppies, like come up to you until you look at them, then turn away, like real playful and small, like all good until the big one shows up. Like, but like they have their whole system pretty.
Do they chum up? Are they allowed to?
I don't think they do. They just know. Maybe they have previously, but like there's definitely not when people are swimming, but they'll come up hearing the motors either from the fishermen or the buoys they know now.
Yeah.
Because this is cageless. So I don't think they're not throwing like fish in the water with people. It's a recipe for disaster. But
liability
they pull people out when they all disappear, because that's when like you'll see all the little 4-footers just disperse quick, and like a big tiger's coming in. Just the way their little system works, but they'll pull people back on the boat. But yeah, it was really cool to see them that way and see them just like chilling and curious and having almost as if like, not just mindless predator mode, fully thinking and playing with each other and like that deal.
Oof, fuck that. Yeah, I guess he's psyched for the box tomorrow.
Yeah. Anyway, let's see how there. First light.
Man, I was just thinking before that dolphin shot you got you now. That's a gummy ad waiting to happen. Eh? Going for it out
hanging the super gummies.
Even Sea Life are onto it.
Dolphin leaves ocean for super gummy.
Yeah. Have you got your creatine today?
I think I got more than the intended dose. I can't stop eating them, which is
shout out. This is not an ad, but thank you for that. Insane, eh? They're good.
Zoard started a gummy company, and so like gummies aren't super popular in the States, and creatine always comes in these like annoying, most of the time bad tasting powders.
Yep.
So he put it in a tasty little gummy, a little treat.
And can confirm I tried it. It was delicious.
So
how much? I had 2. How much is that?
5 gummies is 5 grams, so it's 1 gram per gummy.
Good math.
Most people want to take 5 grams a day.
Yeah.
So we put 150 gummies in there so you get a whole month supply.
Ooh, yeah.
Unlike other brands who also don't have their advertised dose of creatine in the gummies.
Whoa. This is like creatine politics here.
Yeah. Politics are heavy right now in the creatine world. But yeah, no, they're 100% legit, tested, and they taste delicious.
Sweet.
And no artificial ingredients.
And what about all your sponsors? You got your own pod?
We got our own podcast.
Oh
yeah, we got our own podcast going. Me and Koa. We just couldn't figure out a name, so we called it Nate and Koa Podcast. But we're pretty spotty. We're definitely not as consistent as these guys. But when we do upload, they're fun.
Yeah. Man, being consistent on YouTube, that's 10 times harder. So well done to you.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
What's the YouTube channel for? I'm guessing most 99.9% already know it, but
Nate and Koa Podcast.
And your one?
And my one's just Nathan Florence. No crazy name. A lot of guys' name there's something, but just went with the basics. Nathan Florence YouTube.
Yep. So I highly recommend it.
Where do we get super gummies? Where can they get them from?
Supergummies.co. Right now it's only in the US. I'm trying to figure out the best way to get it into Australia ASAP, since I've gotten so many people asking.
Yeah.
I think one of the days the number 1 location for website visits was from Sydney and Melbourne. Sydney and Melbourne were like the top 2 locations the other day. I was like, shit, I got to figure this out like right now.
Get your shipping done.
Yeah. Get your little stall set up at Shark Island.
Yeah. I had two shops. I'm forgetting the name off the top of my head, reached out and were like, oh, how can we try these and get them in our shop? So definitely on the top of the to-do list.
Oh, good luck with it, man. That's awesome to see.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming on. And by coming on, I mean, let us be in your house.
Yes. Thanks for having us, boys. That was a fun chat.
That was sick fun. Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully we'll be around tomorrow anyway.
Perfect. We'll get a surfing.
Huge shout out to all subscribers, patrons. Love you all. Got a little Corrective Culture shirt on.
Yeah.
Check them out.
Looks like nice material.
Looks good. Balls, trim. Rusty, looking after you in and out of the water. Rocky Ridge, if you enjoy a beer, they got you covered. And Florence Marine.
Florence Marine.
Team.
3 out of 4.
Yes, show the flag.
That's it.
We're going to get 4 out of 4. Get this guy some merch.
All right. Cheers, legends.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Peace.
Yeah, boys. That's the
Cool.